I, 26M, caught my live-in girlfriend 24F of 5 years cheating on me with her coworker. My partner and I have been together for 7 years. We've been dating for almost 5 years and living together for around 18 months. I traveled out of state for work and have been gone for a week. My flight had been delayed due to weather, so I told her I would simply spend the night. But on the spur of the moment, I decided to take the red eye and then drive back through the morning. I imagined it'd be a pleasant surprise. When I arrived, I spotted another vehicle in the driveway. It didn't really hit me. I simply thought it was strange considering how early it was. I'm used to coming home late, so I'm adept at sneaking in silently. I came in, unpacked my filthy clothes, placed them in the hamper, and then went to my bedroom. They were both in bed, barely partially clothed. I didn't instantly identify the other person. I don't know how long I stood there since they were both sleeping. It didn't add up. I had one of those moments after recognizing the man in bed with her. Just a split second when I envisioned taking up something big and slamming it into his face. But it was over in a flash. I was just exhausted and depressed. I woke her up and informed her that I was leaving for a motel. I guess she was too sleepy to realize it at first. She was smiling for a few moments before recalling. She sprang up and began to speak and scream, but I ignored her. I grabbed some more clothing and left. Before leaving the driveway, I switched off my phone. I'm at a loss on what to do right now. I feel as though I've been in a car wreck. I'm sitting in this dingy motel room, consuming some mediocre whiskey. On the way over, I stopped at the grocery. I've got my laptop, phone, and a change of work clothes, and that's all I've got. I don't want to feel like this any longer. I don't want to be any longer. Update. I cried for a while because she was so direct about it. It wasn't the first time they slept together, and she didn't attempt to justify it by claiming there were extenuating circumstances. I wasn't stoned or intoxicated. He did not compel me. When he hit on me, I was flattered. He's a highly gorgeous guy who could definitely sleep with a number of different ladies. So it was incredibly meaningful for him to choose me. It was an opportunity to appease my big ego. She claimed she'd understand if I didn't want her in the home or in my life. She thanked me for not calling her or anything else, even if I am. She said I didn't have to stay at a hotel, that she'd be gone in the morning, and that she'd leave her keys there. Then she apologized for betraying all we had and shattering your confidence in me. She stated I didn't have to speak to her again if I didn't want to. I can't do anything to make up for what I've done. No apology is sufficient. I was selfish, arrogant, and deceptive just because I wanted to be. I don't deserve your forgiveness, no matter how much I want it. I'm just asking because I'm a hypocrite. I apologize. I'm crying all over again just reading this. I'm pleased she didn't attempt to excuse her actions, but I'm still perplexed. Update. I've been back at home for a couple of hours. While I was watching Cosmos, I ate a grilled cheese sandwich with onions. I almost wish I'd been called into work since it would have made it easier to divert my attention away from the situation. It's been tough to hold back the want to call her what she really is. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to handle the situation if I don't speak with her at some time in the future. In the meanwhile, I've had a few phone calls from various people. A handful of them belong to her family with whom I had a good relationship. We may assume she notified them of her deception at some point throughout the day yesterday. In an email, her sister told me that she would be staying in a spare bedroom at her residence, and her father expressed his regrets to her through text message, explaining that he felt he had raised her better. I was relieved to discover that she had not texted me at all. If I heard her voice, I'd be tempted to give her a call. When I realized I'd gotten a text from her coworker, I was on the verge of laughing uncontrollably. I'm sorry, dude, I didn't realize what I was doing. Possibly, although it is also possible that he did not. I don't care as long as I don't have to deal with him again. People have provided me with a great deal of advice and support, which I much value. Some folks think I'm a jerk for not evicting her immediately after she moved in. I don't agree, but who cares? A few disturbing and rude comments were made, though hinting that I should have gone far further than I really did. If I didn't send someone to the hospital, you might call me a beta. This sort of misogynistic garbage makes my heart skip a beat because I'm not aiming to please folks like you. In any case, based on the advice I've heard, it seems like a lengthy separation would be the most effective method to determine how I feel about things. Despite everything has transpired, I have no regrets about the preceding 5 years of my life. But I need some time to think things through, and I'm not the kind to plunge into anything without thinking it through first. As a result, I'm not going to toss everything she has away. It is calculating the time span that I would want some guidance with. I'm not sure how long I'll have to wait. At some point, there has to be a discussion about it. Story 2. Just found out my 23M best friend, 23M, has been secretly dating my ex, 24F, for months. Cassie and I had been together for 5 years at the time of this writing. We started dating in high school and continued to date throughout college, ultimately relocating to the same city as one another after graduation. I've had emotions for her since before we ever went on a date together. She's just wonderful. I still think this to be true. We were talking about the possibility of getting married and starting a family in the near future. A few months later, Cassie expressed a desire to talk, called me into her room, and informed me that she had made the decision not to have children. She didn't just say not now, but she said never again. She spoke about overpopulation, climate change, and other difficulties, and I couldn't help but feel depressed. I've always dreamed of being a parent. My father was a jerk, and this is something I've wanted to do since I was a youngster myself. It's time for me to do something about it. When she had finished speaking, I told her that the job was completed. Even though I was already weeping when she started to screw it. What more can I do if she doesn't want the same things that I want for the future as she does now? She said that she had been thinking along these lines for years, and that Corona was the last straw in her decision. Because she may or may not change her mind, I'm not going to sit here and wait for her to do so. Consequently, I resigned my job and moved in with Ryan, my closest friend. From the time we were children, connecting over Pokemon cards on the playground, we've been friends. He's essentially my brother, and his mother served as an extra mother to me while I was growing up since I didn't have much support at home. In my haste to leave, I didn't bring much with me. I didn't want to return to the apartment and face Cassie, but Ryan was being a kind friend by going out to get me everything I needed whenever I needed it. To put it another way, that's exactly what I imagined he was doing. My and Cassie's 6th wedding anniversary would have been yesterday, and it had been a very terrible day for me, so I told Ryan that I didn't want to be alone and that I wanted to hang out and play video games with him all day. The man consented and agreed to everything, but he was always distracted by his phone, and after a few hours, he excused himself by saying something came up and walked away. It was starting to become dark outside. I'm not ashamed to say that I shed a few tears. For a number of reasons, I didn't want to be alone on that particular day. Finally, Ryan returned home after midnight last night, and he was acting oddly, so I went up to him and asked what was going on. Because his mother works as a teacher at a newly reopened school, I thought she was unwell or somehow incapacitated. Ryan, on the other hand, invites me to sit down and assures me that he would be departing shortly after. Since we ended our relationship a few weeks ago, he's been secretly seeing Cassie. He says that they are already in love and that she needs his presence more than I do, and as a result, he is moving in with her and leaving me to fester here. I have absolutely no clue how the heck I am supposed to absorb this. I'm not sure which of them has had the most impact on me. To make things worse, I texted a few of our other friends this morning to let them know what was going on, only to find out that they were already aware of the situation. When I voiced my dissatisfaction, they all responded by saying it was no big deal, since I was the one who ended my relationship with Cassie. What am I expected to do at this point? It has been years since my ex tore up my heart, my best friend trod on it, and the closest thing I have to family is no longer there since they were also his family. I am unable to communicate with my friends. I'm at a loss for what to do next and don't know where to start. Up until this point, I've been thinking about if there's anything else to be worried about than my broken heart. Ryan sent me a text message. As a consequence of a pandemic, I will be forced to live on the streets.